and welcome to Say Report Jr. That little noise you just heard was something not dying, I promise. I really hope it got on the recording.
I mean, I heard it, so I
okay.
assume it got on the recording.
I mean, you're going to hear anything anyways, because even when we're not recording, you're hearing. I am one of your hosts.
Right. There's like time and stuff that have to be included in that.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Sorry, I interrupted you. You're our host.
You're
what?
fine. I'm your host something. I'm one of your hosts, Dale Decker.
And I'm the other host, Zach Sarowick.
Woo-hoo!
And I almost sounded like that noise was kind of the noise my back is making right now.
Oh, gosh.
So I'm an old, cranky man. I had to shovel a driveway for the first time in 6 years.
I know.
Oh,
how has the snow been treating you?
Oh, I'm soft and I'm not used to this. So like my arms, my back, just hurting.
It's just like, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Been here for not even a month, or have you been here for a month?
I've been here for just about a month.
I've been back for a month, and I'm done. Oh man, no, that noise was definitely, I hit record, and there was a moment before it started recording, but I almost started to talk before the recording started.
That sound was your emergency brake going off.
That's exactly what it was. That was, you need to take a step back, Dale, and not go yet. But yes, welcome to the podcast, everybody. It's a podcast you should be listening to, subscribe to, and downloading every single week, because I still haven't said that.
I was gonna also. I feel like it's been a couple weeks. I feel like I really derailed things with the Kraken Crackalacken thing last week, and I don't know if we ever got that far.
I don't think so. I think the Kraken Crackalacken really just made that episode go. We started and we did not stop.
Oh man.
We're getting close to 50 episodes, aren't we?
We are. We're also. Hold on. What is it? The 5th? We're also 5th. 2 days away from our own personal 1-year anniversary.
Oh my god.
I believe. I have to check my notes just to make sure. Pretty certain that's right, though.
I think that's right, yeah, because I think February 22nd was our, 22nd.
Was our special episode.
Was our special episode anniversary, and we pretty much started, a couple weeks after that. We were, ready to go. Maybe we should, make this, a special,
We should decide on air right now to make this a special episode.
Yeah, why not? Because that's how our planning goes.
Yes, March 7th, 2018. Oh. Happy birthday to Say Report Jr.
Happy birthday to Say Report Jr. Oh, that's crazy. We've been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And we've ruined the whole premise of our podcast by meeting. It's ruined now.
I know.
Podcast over.
Podcast. This is our birthday and also our. I was gonna say death day, but I don't like that. I'm gonna take that back.
I mean, happy death day to you. Really, really makes that less of a morbid thing now.
That's true. I guess this
every week we're continually trapped in a 1-hour loop of this podcast.
We're just gonna have to continue doing it every week, and we will never stop.
I mean, every week we're going to talk about Pokemon. We're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts. We're going to talk about
movies, some video
CBS.
game.
For some reason, CBS gets most of our airtime.
But yes, it is our birthday, our podcast birthday, podcastiversary. I like that better. Man, it's been a year.
And how did we celebrate part of that year? Why, last Friday we spent another 7 hours playing, or 8 or 10 hours
I don't even
playing,
know.
Playing Kingdom Hearts 3. We sat down with me and Joe going, no, there's only a few hours left. This will be fine.
3.
And then it was 3 o'clock in the morning.
You said 3.
Joe said 3, and I agreed. I refused to say that I ever said the number. But I did agree to the number. I'll give him that.
But yeah, we sat down at 5:30 and went until almost 3 in the morning.
God, because we kept going, wait, what's left? Oh, that's right. There's a whole other 20-minute chunk in here I forgot about.
There's so there's the rest of Pirates, and then there's the level that shall not be named.
Dale's favorite level in a video game ever. So perfectly designed and beautifully paced.
Oh, I'm going to talk about it. Don't you worry. And then, like, all the Disney stuff is done. They just, like, forget about the Disney stuff, and they're like, we're going to give you a brand new game now.
Dale, that's how Kingdom Hearts do. That's what every Kingdom Hearts game is. Every Kingdom Hearts game opens with like a 6 or 7 hour tutorial and introduction of, some side character that's going to suddenly become Sora. And then it's, you know, 20 hours of Disney stuff, and then it's another 15 hours of not Disney stuff, but Mickey Mouse is just there the whole time.
Ninja Mickey.
Ninja anime Mickey is there.
It was crazy. It was so crazy. And like, I really enjoyed Kingdom Hearts 3. I really, really did. I did not expect myself to enjoy it as much as I did. That being said, Big Hero 6 can go fuck itself.
Man, it's
and you
so
can
funny.
Quote me on that.
It's so funny because when I played that level, so I had said this on stream, which, by the way, everybody, twitch.tv/thesayReport.
Yep.
Go look in the videos archives or whatever. All 3 videos of that should be up now. The first day, which got split in half by a popped breaker. And then our last day where at some point, first off, really, really, really rough energy there at the start after we got from Pirates into Big Hero 6, where we're all just mad at each other for a little bit.
Well,
and then the rest of the night of us slowly getting more tired and losing our minds as the rest of that happens.
Yeah, you see a real ugly side of me, and like, congratulations, Zach. We've been friends for a year, and you got to see that. So good on you. Good on you.
The point where everyone just starts going, crap, we don't know what jokes we can make now that's gonna set each other off.
Exactly. But like, that's friendship, I think. I think that gets to a point where it's like, okay, this person needs their time. Just let them. No,
but it's so funny because when I played that the first time, so when I played through Kingdom Hearts 3 by myself the first time, I had done Pirates last, which means that I got into Big Hero 6 right after Frozen. Which I think was already like my mind was still reeling from the fact that they used the entirety of Let It Go and then like 2 lines of "Do you want to build a snowman?" before Kristen Bell starts talking over herself. And so getting into Big Hero 6, like that was also after many days of playing in like multi-hour chugs. So the pace change and all of that did not bother me in the same way, I think. And so like I was like, oh yeah, no, it's just a different kind of level. It's styled a little differently. You just go through it. And like all of the Disney worlds, the whole story feels like just like every Disney World and every Kingdom Hearts game is we're just going to go through the same themes of the game over again, like 10 times for the 10 different Disney worlds. We're going to teach you the same lesson.
Yeah, but not really. Not as much as Big Hero 6 did.
Like Big Hero 6 seems like it was the most obvious. The only other one was Toy Story. It's just Toy Story was a little bit more fun.
Well, but
Big Hero 6 seemed like the most. This is the most video game ass level because you're literally wearing an AR helmet and doing video game stuff for half of it.
The thing that really bothers me about Big Hero 6, so like the other levels, right? Once you get, Toy Story, there's the level, you have the mechs and all of that, and you have there's a tutorial. I forgot what the tutorial in that level is, but it does teach you to do something. Is there?
In Toy Story No, because in Toy Story you start in Andy's room, and then like what happens is that I think it's that once you get into the toy store itself, it's just that it's a little better paced in that you start off with just a mech fight in a mech there, so it teaches you that, and then it gets you into the bigger fights with multiple mechs and the bigger fights with different things.
Yeah.
It also has that creepy doll level. Let's not forget that creepy doll room, everybody.
If you guys want to see Dale shit her pants,
oh my
go look that up. Dale and Devin. But no, so really the only thing you're learning in that level is the mech stuff, which never gets used again. So it's very like centralized for the Toy Story world.
Right, because it culminates with you being sucked into the video game, which is nothing but a giant mech fight. Like that's what that climax is, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's fantastic. Like it was so much fun to watch, and I bet it was even more fun to play. But the issue with Big Hero 6 is that it feels like it should have been a starter level and not the final level or one of the final levels, because it is all tutorial stuff. You don't do anything but play through tutorials in that level.
And tutorials of stuff that you have been doing for, at
The
what point was
game.
then 20 hours for us.
Exactly. So it's like, this is not fun at all. First of all, I didn't understand all the AR stuff. Like,
right, I was
that
gonna say,
didn't
poorly vocalized was the other part of that. Like, it doesn't explain much at all about what's going on.
It's just like, hey, I made you these AR things. Now you can see Heartless in this world. But you guys can see Heartless without them, so why do we have them?
Yeah, so
and
part of this might be that was also we were
talking.
Not to give Big Hero 6 any credit, because I'm not going to play devil's advocate for this level, but I will say this: we were talking over a lot of things. Yeah. I think what's going on, and this is, I guess, for our listeners too, because I'm sure this sounds like the craziest thing we're talking about. What essentially happens at the Big Hero 6 level is you show up what feels like 2 minutes after the movie ended, because the heroes from Big Hero 6 don't know jack shit about anything. They're apparently bad superheroes, which is already very badly vocalized. Very badly vocalized, because when you show up on the Golden Gate Bridge, you help them fight off a swarm of the bad guys from the game, and then they're looking at a news clipping, and the news clipping, I think, is saying that these monsters showed up and the heroes didn't do anything to help or something, or they were not part of the story, something.
Yeah.
So that already is like badly kind of telling you what's going on. I have no idea what the actual problem was that they had with that newspaper story to start with.
Yeah.
But then what it is that they need help, becoming better heroes and fighting specifically the Heartless. And so you were given these set of AR goggles, which are supposed to be taking in the information for the training. So so he puts on the AR thing and sees the Heartless, which is not the same as the Heartless that are themselves attacking the world, because the ones that are attacking the world are the ones that he's like, you're going to go fight the Heartless, and it'll take whatever you're fighting, and it'll, take data on it and send it back to us. So then we're trained to know how to fight the Heartless, which is a whole
lazy.
But
you're lazy.
Yeah.
Go fight these for us and then just give us the information we need. Do my homework for me, but make it look different so they know I didn't cheat.
Not like the craziest thing in the world. The problem is that it seems like you spend the first half of that level collecting that data and they still don't learn anything, because the second half of that level is you have to then go and save them again.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what they're fucking doing.
But like that's also super frustrating. So, okay, first of all, that level more confusing than Kingdom Hearts lore. I'm just going to say it. Like, if you pay attention to the Kingdom Hearts world, you get it. Big Hero 6 literally
story told poorly. That's the problem with Kingdom Hearts. Big Hero 6 is just not fun at all.
No, it's awful. But the issue is like, first of all, I didn't realize how much I didn't like those characters. Because when I first saw the movie, I was like, okay, movie, whatever. I like parts of it. And then I saw it again, and I'm like, all right, I don't like this movie as much as I thought I did. And then I played the game, then I played the level in Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, oh, I really didn't like this movie. And I really don't like these characters. The only person I care about is Baymax, and he's a freaking robot. And it's like, you have that whole story line of like Hero where he's like, oh, that Baymax that went into the other dimension means more to me than the Baymax that is standing right next to me. And it's
even that I think is told poorly, because I think I don't even think that is definitely what seems to come out of that story.
Yeah.
I don't think you read that story wrong from the game. I think what the game was going for was he still means as much to me as this other Baymax, but it definitely feels like he's like, well, I've got this puppy, but I really like my older dog. I really like this new dog is fine, but he's not my first dog, and I loved my first dog.
Yeah,
who has the heart of my brother data scaped into him.
But it's like, you have the data on a flash drive. Your brother can go anywhere. And it's not even like his brother's consciousness. It's just like his brother's data. Like, it's just like has a piece of his. More confusing than Kingdom Hearts. but it's also like it's just so it doesn't make sense, and it's stuff I've already done, and it just literally drops you in there. And also, the characters of Big Hero 6 are infuriating because they're super incompetent. They're so incompetent, and it's like, why do I feel anything for these guys? They don't feel like a family. Like, Donald, Goofy, and Sora feel more like a family than the Big Hero 6 people. And, like, that was the big thing of Big Hero 6 is, like, we love each other, we're a family, we care about each other. And, like, to steal this line from Devin, you're coworkers. You work together. You are not a family. There is no chemistry. Nothing. You literally just work together.
It also doesn't help.
Try and save the world and fail.
And that was one of the few worlds where they got like almost the entire main cast to come back for that. I also can tell you right now that not a single one of those people was in a room together at the same time.
No.
Which is saying something because the voice acting in Kingdom Hearts is so laughable sometimes with the amount of pauses and the things that people react to like 20 seconds after something is said. But you get so used to that being the way that they all talk to each other that it almost becomes like a weird form of like, okay, that's just how, for some reason, this is just how the people in Kingdom Hearts talk to each other, is that someone says something and then it like you visibly see someone blink and it clicks in their head what was said and then they go, wait, what? No doubt. No joke. I'm pretty certain there's a point in which Sora says something and Riku's response is to look at his stupid little phone and go, what?
Yeah.
And that's the whole reaction shot from him. Yeah. But for some reason in the Disney worlds that doesn't work because you're so used to Disney animation being so much smoother.
Yeah.
That like it is so obvious that these like people who you know have worked together before don't seem to be like at all talking to each other.
And they're not connected or anything.
To be fair, I wouldn't want to talk to TJ Miller right now either.
Yeah, true. Very true. Very, very true. You know, they knew something. Yeah, no. So it's just like all this not anger, but like this annoyance towards Big Hero 6. And then the annoyance to the gameplay, because it's like, this is no longer fun. I don't want to be teaching these guys this stuff. I'm flying through these rings that, like, as soon as you were like, the points mean nothing, I'm like, then I'm getting to the end of this as quickly as I can. Because it's not teaching me anything. I already know how to fly through stuff. Like, I know how to get through rings, and which I've never had to do up until this point.
Literally, what that is setting up is that later, when you are going back to grind through to find, like, treasures and stuff, you can then do that for, like, a high score so that you have something else to do in that world when you go back to it. That's all it is.
And then, like, having to save them was, like, that was the first time that you needed to, like, spin on stuff, really. I mean, you have to spin on stuff during the Xehanort fight, I believe. Or, like, there's points where, like, spinning on a rod will make it easier for you. But, like, you can also get through stuff by not spinning on rods.
Right.
But in the Big Hero 6 world, you need to in order to save someone. Like, it's just, it was so upsetting that, like, I have other stuff I need to deal with. Training this group of, like, this group of
dumbasses,
like, dumbass, mediocre superheroes is not what is important. Stopping the darkness is what is important now.
Funny. It's so funny because, like, Kingdom Hearts has kind of had this problem for a lot of its games, which is, for, like, 90% of the game, a lot of the intricate moves don't really mean anything, especially when you're playing on, like, standard or even beginner mode like we were. And then eventually you hit, like, a boss fight where you need to know all of the stuff you've never been trained to know before, and that's usually when someone gives up and goes and watches the cutscenes and moves on to the next game. And Kingdom Hearts 3, for the most part, avoids that so well. It moves so smoothly. You can get through that. It tells the story so much better than other Kingdom Hearts games have told stories before, but it feels like they dumped all of that bullshit into the Big Hero 6 level. Because they were like, well, we still need to do this at least once, right?
Yeah. But it also, like, really feels out of, kind of, it feels so out of place. It feels like it was an afterthought. They were like, oh, yeah, we said that we're going to have a Big Hero 6 thing. Oh, yeah, there's stuff that we've introduced that we haven't really been using. Let's do it, guys.
I also wonder, like,
Like it,
especially a game that's been over such a huge cycle before. That I can almost guarantee that like the team that worked on that world is probably not the same team that worked on a bunch of other stuff in
yeah,
that
no.
game. And so I kind of wonder how much of the Disney worlds were developed separately from
Mm.
anything else.
I mean,
Because
that's
for the most
interesting.
part, they all have their own individual stories. They
Mm.
all have their own individual stuff. So like I kind of wonder if that was all kind of divided up among different teams. It was like find something to do. Here's your tool set. You know what you're gonna do. And so like the team working on Big Hero 6 was like probably might not have even known where it was placed in the rest of the game and just went, well, I bet it would be fun if we did this stuff with the Big Hero 6 stuff. And no one was like, yeah, but it doesn't fit with anything else going on in this game,
Yeah.
guys.
I think if it was an earlier level, I think it would have been better. But the fact that it was like all of this intense stuff has already happened. Like you have all the stuff, you have the stuff that's going on in the Frozen, which is like, yeah, you're basically just going through Frozen, but you see it's all about Bunny, don't remember her name. Luke's Marceline, not Marceline.
Oh, I'm sorry. It took me a minute to figure out what you meant by bunny. Larksine.
Larksine. Okay, so you have Larksine showing up like throughout the Frozen world. You have the flower dude showing up throughout Tangled. Like you have recurring characters that are showing up throughout the levels. So like it's a bringing you back to the story and everything is like, yeah, don't be trying too hard, you're gonna mess up her heart, or like they're trying to, it's it's
Clearly, there's like they're doing there. We're manipulating you
it's
in some way,
yes,
but we don't
it
know
is
how bullshit going on. Yeah,
exactly, it's moving the story along. Whereas like Big Hero 6, you have two, from what I remember, two scenes,
yeah, and that's when
and they like
again
mean nothing.
yeah, and again, part of me wonders like if that would have had more impact as to again, like I didn't find it as infuriating as you did. I also wasn't trying to like blow through it because like pirates, we skipped
A lot of stuff.
so three-fourths of what you're supposed to do in
Yeah.
that world, and we were trying to get through the Big Hero 6 level very quickly, especially once we realized you were not happy with it. We were like, just do this and get out of here. Um,
I mean, yeah, I
so like
understand.
so
Like,
like but I wonder if even that like because that's when one of the young that's when the Xehanort that looks like Riku
Riku,
shows up,
it's young
right?
Riku.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the one when while he was possessing
Mhm.
Riku, he went back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like first off, like the fact that he was even like a bad guy in that, especially once he used one of the main like Xehanort
Yeah.
people, I'm sure that that was supposed to be like hugely impactful that he was even there. But
Mhm.
it also doesn't help that all of that data cube shit comes from the game Recoded, which is the one where there is no Sora, but there is data Sora because they
Mm.
need to go into Jiminy's journal. They need to matrix go into Jiminy's journal that's been corrupted and figure out what the hell's going on. And that's when Pete and Maleficent are freaking hackers trying to break up the journal. It's a very weird game. It's a very weird game.
Yeah. I
And
just
so like the fact that that's the game that was most connected to this world does not help because that game is the most not part of anything going on.
yeah. But it's I feel like there's so you have that exploration element, right? I feel like the other levels have exploration that we just didn't do, but we still like had fun with them.
They're also like much more linear, so it's a lot easier to be like, this is the direction you're going, and
Yeah.
you can get out. And we're a Big Hero 6, and again, Pirates. If we had done it, Pirates is a lot like this too, where it's just a set of islands you can go and
Yeah.
explore while you sail around. And Big Hero 6 was like, hey, here's a big open world square of things to go around and do, which like there's fights on top of a lot of those buildings. There's a bunch of treasures and a bunch of those lucky emblem things to find, which we just weren't doing. And so, what's weird is that when in most like we saw on this stream, when you take out the collectathon part of Kingdom Hearts, there's still a lot going on in the other
Yeah.
worlds. And with Big Hero 6, it was like, oh, there's really nothing here if you're not doing the exploration
Yeah.
stuff.
Which is not like that's not good in my
Yeah,
opinion.
like there should never like I hope they look at that and they just go there should never be an open world Kingdom Hearts game because it
Yeah.
would never work.
No.
It just
Because
wouldn't.
exploration is fine, story is fine. But like I am not that kind of story, that game, it's like I don't see myself going back through and playing through Kingdom Hearts to explore and get all the stuff. But again, I'm not like I haven't been following the games. I'd never played them as a kid, so I don't have like this connection to it. But like, it doesn't like what does the exploration do for you?
Well, I mean, for me, it was entirely trying to find those lucky emblems because, especially once I found out I needed to get all 90 of them if I was going to get the secret story, because the secret movie or whatever, which
Yeah.
fine. But just on my own, like, I like to, I don't know why, I've always liked doing those collectible things. Like, that's why I like the 3D kind of open world platformer games. So, like, collectathon stuff has never bothered me that
I
much.
got
And that's,
you.
again, probably why that level didn't hit me as hard as it hit you,
Yeah.
because that's just the type of game I usually play.
Yeah.
But also, like, I've seen Big Hero 6 once and I have no strong feelings about it one way or the other. So, like, that didn't help either. Like,
Yeah.
that didn't hurt it either. That I didn't really. It wasn't a story I liked so much that I found this disappointing, and it wasn't a story I hated so much that I didn't want to be around these characters either.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the fact that I had more fun in the Frozen level
which is so funny to me.
than the Big Hero 6 level, it says a lot, because when I first saw Frozen, I was so against Frozen. So incredibly against Frozen. And it's weird that like I had that delay of for lack of a better word, anger. It's not anger, but it's more, I don't know, disdain, like disliking. I had such a late reaction to my feelings towards Big Hero 6 than I did of Frozen, which I think also was messing with my brain, cuz it's like I didn't realize how much I 100% forgot about Big Hero 6
And I think that's
until I played that level.
and I think that's part of it. Like, Frozen obviously blew up in a
Yes.
huge way, which
Yeah.
also meant that if you did not particularly like Frozen, even if you just kind of didn't like it, the amount to which people were then harping on how great and amazing and wonderful it was is
Yeah.
probably going to make you go, relax, it kind of sucked. Just like as a reaction to people
Yeah.
loving a thing. That happens.
Yeah.
And I think with Big Hero 6, I remember Big Hero 6 being huge, like being really popular when it first came out. Like within the year it came out, and when it came out on DVD and stuff, I remember people really liking it. But once it was out on DVD, it was almost like no one talked about it again.
Yeah.
And so it's
And
like
now
one of
there's
those
a
things,
series,
right?
but like
And like and there's part of me that kind of feels like after so many years since it's been there, because I remember that coming out when I was in college, so it's been quite some time since Big Hero 6 came out. Like I could
wait,
very easily.
Big Hero 6 came out when I was in college, I thought.
It could have been like my last year and your first year.
Maybe.
Or at the very least, at the very least, it was announced while I was in college,
Yeah.
which means it must have come out like. So that still puts it at like 2012, 2013. It's still more than 5 years old at this point. Like, it's very easy to kind of feel like Big Hero 6, I think that was good, right? People seem to like that. I don't remember people hating it. Like, that's the reaction I have when I think
Yeah.
about Big Hero 6. And so, like, to then be confronted with, oh no, this is a thing I just kind of let my brain forget about because I did not like it at all.
Yeah.
It's like it snuck up on you how much you didn't like it.
It was crazy.
Versus Frozen, which was just fun to watch because I still contest. I would watch the video. I would watch the Let It Go music video that just intercut
With Sora, Goofy,
Sora and Donald and Goofy running up that mountain. Because the funniest thing is that they're not just saying, "I think she's this way." They hear her straight up singing. It is the fact that they made it so that the music was diegetic in that scene, and then to have Anna doing the whole thing where she's singing "Do You Want to Build a Snowman" and talking to Sora, and she just starts talking about it, to put that in context of, is this music in this diegetic, means that she's sitting there talking to Sora and then just kind of starts singing to herself like a crazy person while Sora's like,
what's happening?
How do I,
Who are you?
what's going on? How do I react to this?
Yeah, oh man, I don't know. It was so, like, I would play the Frozen level 100 more times because it was just so much fun. Like, that is the level, that and Tangled are the levels I would play over and over and over again. But like, yeah, I just, that exploration stuff doesn't really do anything. Like, collectathon stuff doesn't really do anything for me unless, like, don't know. It's weird. Like
Well,
you
especially
have to
because it's
do
not
it.
building to anything, right? Like it's
Yeah,
still within the context of Kingdom Hearts 3, which is that the lucky emblems get you a secret ending, and
yeah,
the treasures are just treasures. They're not getting you
yeah.
anything special or anything like that, which means that like, it's not like Spider-Man where you're running around and picking
Exactly.
up backpacks and getting story things about Peter, and so you start to learn things about him and the world that they have built of
Yes.
Spider-Man there,
Yes.
so that
That's
then
what I was gonna
things
say.
have emotional impact later.
Mhm.
Like you get nothing out of
Yeah.
exploring
I
really
mean
in
the
Kingdom Hearts 3 just in
yeah.
general, except for just, oh, look at the world they built, which is So
Yeah. I mean, to bring it up again, the fact that you find pieces of like Electro and the Vulture, like you find old prototypes of their suits in those backpacks in Spider-Man is fantastic. Because if you care about the Spider-Man story and you care about that, that means a lot to you. Like when I first found like a Vulture backpack or a one of the 6 like backpacks that contain something from a villain, I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." And then they bring it up a notch to have Peter be like, "This is how I learned I could do this with my suit." And this like having this piece of like Vulture's wing or like Shocker's suit taught me that I can manipulate this kind of thing, and I've made my suits better. Like it just adds. But again, if you don't care about Spider-Man, it could have the same reaction that I had to Kingdom Hearts. It could be like, "What? I don't care about this. Give me more Doc Ock stuff."
that's
You
true, but
know?
even Spider-Man, like at least within Spider-Man PS4, those characters then show up.
That's true.
Like spoiler
That's
alert,
that's
what
very
that's
true.
really doing is like if you don't know anything about, it's almost like if you don't read Spider-Man comics, going around and collecting shit actually kind of
Teaches you.
teaches you about the Spider-Man lore so that when these characters show up later, you're not completely thrown off by who these people are.
That's true.
Big Hero 6, once you're out of that world, you never see those people again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just collected like I it's funny that collectathon except in like Spider-Man it means something to me because of that. I'm trying to like think of other like collectible stuff that I've like actually done through. Like Abzu. I did that in Abzu, but mainly to like get the 100% in Abzu. Like I don't know. I don't know. It's just like because Joe mentioned that too. He goes, well, one of the reasons why it might have been like infuriating and frustrating is that we didn't explore, so you didn't see the rest of the world. But it's like I don't think exploring that world would have made it better for
it's
me.
not like
For me
it's not like
personally,
and it's
just
not like any two buildings are that much different. Like
yeah,
there's some that are taller, it's not the, going
that
up Avengers Tower in Spider-Man is a completely different feeling from
yes,
going up the really tall building in this world in this, San Francisco or
mm,
whatever the hell they call it,
yeah,
which
San
is like
Francisco,
so does not roll off the tongue.
yeah, no,
And like there's no landmarks or anything that really grab you in
yeah.
that world. So like doing that doesn't really get you anything.
Yeah. I don't know. That was also what was really annoying to me too, is that running up the buildings took forever. Like I feel like I spent more time running up buildings in that level than actually doing anything. Because everything else, even like, well, do you get to run up the? You do. Like you get to run up the tower in Rapunzel, right?
Yes.
Did not feel like I was running up it for
Oh,
years.
because it's a much shorter building. So
Well,
it's
is
like
it?
yeah, it's a much
She
one, it's a
can't
much
just
shorter
jump
building.
out of there, Zach.
Like one, it's a much shorter building. Two, it's the only one. So
That's
like
true.
it's and you're also running toward the boss in that level because you don't
Yeah, that
really
has
do that till
meaning.
the boss fight. So it's like, oh, the boss is at the top of that thing and you run to it and then you attack it. It's like 5 seconds and you're up there. It's not 20 seconds of running up,
It's just like,
glass reflections.
and you can't,
Like,
and you don't go fast. Oh,
no,
it was
no,
so
Sora is not a
so
fast kid.
frustrating. So frustrating.
Scrawny
That
little legs. No
that
web
being
slingers,
said,
scrawny little legs.
I did really enjoy my time with Kingdom Hearts. I just would never want to play through Big Hero 6
Yeah.
ever again.
I was so happy when you got to play what is my favorite part to the ending, which is
Oh,
we need to
oh,
they needed an excuse for the mobile game.
Yes.
They needed a reason for the mobile game to exist, which they shoved so hard into this game,
But it
which is when
works.
Sora starts surfing on a giant serpent of keyblades, and all of a sudden a list of the usernames from the mobile game show up on the
Mm-hmm.
left-hand side as your bullets during a bullet hell sequence to shoot at the giant godson of Heartless that's coming at you in this beautiful
That
scene. It's so amazing.
that was so good. Like so well done. Like, it was yeah,
It just comes out of nowhere, but in the best way. It
it
does. It
does.
just like it makes no sense because nothing
Mhm.
else in the game except for the gummy ship really has that stuff, and even that's completely different than this. This is just Sora just jumps in the air and just starts freaking surfing
Yeah. On a keyblade. Like,
on a giant wave of
it's so
keyblades.
good. And it looks really good too. And like hitting triangle a bunch of times, like super like this
Like,
is fantastic.
satisfying.
So
Like,
satisfying.
boom, 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 boom.
Like, yeah, that was awesome. And the final fight was a lot of fun too. Like, I'm happy I got to do the final fight. I'm really happy I got to kick Xehanort's ass.
Oh
Like,
man,
so good.
creepy, greasy, wrinkly old dude.
Creepy, greasy, wrinkly old dude. Man, oh man. But yeah.
Oh,
Like, he was, like,
so that was our
sad.
Friday night.
That was our Friday night. What else have we done? You experienced round 1.
I did.
You did.
So yeah, speaking
We-
of hanging out in like real life, we went to round 1, the best version of Dave and Buster's I've ever been in
Yeah.
because I didn't feel pressured to sit down and eat an entire meal
Mhm.
first.
Yeah, and you and like the time that we went, so they open at 10, right? The time that you go to round 1 is when they open because there's no one there. So like you have free reign of everything. Dave and Buster's, you don't. There's
No.
almost everybody. There's someone there all the time.
There's never not people at the
Yes.
Providence Place Mall, so there's always people in the Dave and Buster's.
Exactly.
It's like an airport. People that want to drink at like 11 o'clock in the morning go into
Go
the...
to Dave and Buster's. Oh, poor Dave and Buster's. Anyways, but yeah, I like round 1 a lot. You can buy. We are not sponsored, by the way. We should
God,
probably.
what a weird... That would be a weird... I would
throw
love
that
that
out.
sponsorship to be sponsored by round
Oh
1.
yeah. I wanted to talk about our weird
Oh,
temple like
Before we get
run
into that,
thing.
can we talk about the fact that we like the first thing we did was we sat down and played a bunch of fighting games in Japanese, so I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true.
like their whole setup for their fighting games is that so many of them are just in Japanese. They're not translated. So I sat down at a Street Fighter thing. First off, I don't know how I picked my character. I was like scrolling through characters, and all of a sudden, there must have been a timer I wasn't paying attention to because all of a sudden I was playing as someone.
Awesome.
And then like I couldn't figure out combos or anything because even when I looked down, I was like, what combos can I do? And I looked down, and the freaking combo list is also in Japanese.
Yep.
I can't. I was like, I don't. Oh God.
Yeah, you experience the feeling that everybody experiences the first time at round 1, because that happened to me too, where I'm like, how do I, buttons, I guess?
So I start playing the Street Fighter game, and I don't know anything about Street Fighter. My knowledge of Street Fighter starts and ends with the beautiful Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia film that is still one of my favorite movies of all time. If anybody is ever, if you are a fan out there of Raul Julia as Adam Gomez, or as Raul Julia in general, but as Gomez Adams in the Barry Sonnenfeld's Addams Family films, the guy that played Gomez, this was his one of, if not his last film, was playing Bison, M. Bison in the Street Fighter film. He was sick as hell. Like, I mean, like when I say this was his last movie, like he was really, 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 really sick. But he comes out of like what was essentially retirement to play
do it.
M. Bison,
Oh, God, that's
and he has what is the best line reading in any movie I have ever seen, which is, "The day M. Bison came to your village and killed your father was the most important day of your life. And for me, it was a Tuesday."
Oh,
And oh my God, that
Oh.
line makes the whole movie.
yeah. Oh
So
God.
so I have no idea what character this is I'm playing in Street Fighter because again, didn't even choose them, and also all their names were in Japanese. So I'm watching this and it looks like Chun-Li, but if Chun-Li were a white blonde girl wearing a like red dress and a waiter walks
Oh.
out, a
Oh.
waiter walks out on screen. I don't know who this character is or why a waiter came out first, but then my character comes bouncing on screen after him. And like the few fights that I won, the waiter would like come out and like drop a check on whoever I knocked out or some shit. I don't know what was going on.
It's fantastic. Oh.
Then I
Oh
played
my
Tetris, and I
God.
think I'm the only person that used those Tetris machines because I
Yeah,
definitely had
probably.
like top scores on them. And I
Yeah.
was like, "There's no way I've got to level 9, and I couldn't like it was going too fast for me. There's no way I have the top score on this." But there it was. Uh,
I hate Tetris.
I
I can't even play through Tetris.
haven't gone back to Tetris Royale, Tetris 99
I mean, it's
yet.
basically Tetris
But,
Royale.
I
That's
mean, it
not
is.
incorrect.
It's not even basically. It is Tetris
It's
Royale.
Tetris Royale.
But
I'm waiting for Pac-Man Royale because let
that
me
was
tell
fun.
you, that
You sat
was
down and played that. That was interesting.
it's so much fun. It like
Especially because I'm going for each other. I thought it was whoever had the highest points
yeah,
after a
no.
certain number. It's like, no, you're attacking each other,
Yeah.
just like a battle royale game.
Yeah. I would love. Oh my God! Like I just convinced myself that it's gonna happen. It's not, because who the hell is gonna play Pac-Man Royale other than in like an arcade setting?
Now,
But
Tetris 99
that's
is
true.
like still the biggest game because they announced it during a random direct and it was just there and free.
Oh
And
God.
it is now one of their biggest games. If Nintendo wanted to do it, Pac-Man Royale would be there
I
in
would
like a heartbeat.
I love Pac-Man, and like I didn't realize how good I was at Pac-Man until Devin bought the NES Classic, and like he was like, "You want to play a game?" I'm like, "Sure." What's on here? And he's scrolling through. I'm like, "Oh, there's Pac-Man. I'll play through Pac-Man." And I proceeded to like sit down for like 20 minutes playing through Pac-Man and like not die. And Devin just kept staring at me like, "How? What? How?" I'm like, "Apparently, I really liked Pac-Man and am really good at it." So, Pac-Man. Oh, if there's a Pac-Man Royale, I would be all over that. I want it to happen, Zach.
Well, there's Pac-Man Championship. I'm like on Steam looking at it to make sure I have this right. It's Pac-Man Championship DX, which I got out of I don't know something.
Mm.
Um,
Oh
for
God.
I know it's on I mean I have it on PC, but I think it's on at least PS4. If not, there might be some version of it on Switch. So there are
That's
Pac-Man
interesting.
options out there,
I'll have to
and I
look
think
into
there's
that.
I don't know what their online options are, but yeah.
I'll have to look into it.
But there's definitely like there's definitely still Pac-Man being made, which is
Oh, yeah.
interesting because of all things you would think that like
I mean, there was a TV
Pac-Man
show.
is that's true. He was in Smash.
He's Pac-Man. He's everywhere.
Do you know how much, speaking of Smash Brothers, not to go like completely off the rails, but people keep making jokes about Sora showing up in Smash Brothers, and it makes me so mad that it's probably not going to happen. There's still 4 more DLC characters we don't know about.
Wait.
I'm so mad.
Why would Sora show up?
I don't know, because I want him to, and people just want him to, because there were
just
2.
want him to.
Remember, there were 2 Kingdom Hearts games for Nintendo consoles that were
Oh, that's true.
kind of important. Chain of Memories
That's
and
true.
Teardrop Distance are 2 of the most important games in that series, and they were
That's-
Nintendo exclusives for a while.
That's
So
very true. What about Axel? Could Axel show up?
he could. He was introduced in Chain of Memories.
Sold.
I'll take Axel.
Sold. Dale Decker is sold.
Give Kyrie something to do instead of getting kidnapped every 5 minutes. I don't know. Do
Poor
something.
Kyrie. Oh man, crazy.
But yes, so while we're there, we were looking around at some of the other games, and we came across
I thought
looked
it
like-
was gonna be like Temple Run.
Right, you looked at that thing and went, "Oh, it's some weird Temple Run thing." I was like, "Okay, sure." And then we sit down, and there's guns next to us,
Yeah.
which is great. But
Oh, so
It's
good.
so funny because the only context I have for the shape of the screen in this thing was at Disney World.
Yep.
They have this ride, quote unquote ride, called Soarin',
Oh, yeah.
Soarin apostrophe,
Yep.
in which you are strapped into like
A chair
it's like
thing.
10 levels though. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that go to this because you are suspended over an IMAX screen
Yeah.
that is like bowled out so that it takes up your entire cone of vision.
Yep.
And like
I
I mean
loved
like
that
strapped in,
ride.
like you get in a chair and then they lift you up so the next row of people can get into it. It is a huge thing.
Yeah, I loved
And
that.
and the whole thing is just an IMAX, like a hang glider POV IMAX movie for 20 minutes. But
Yeah.
because of the way you're suspended over this thing, it just messes with your brain.
Yep.
So we sit in this temple game, and it's this giant bowled out screen, and I was like, "What the hell is about to happen?"
And then we have Jake. Trusty old
Oh
Jake, our navigator. Jeez.
God!
Who did nothing, fired
Looking like,
2 shots the whole time.
looking like a Uncharted knockoff character
Oh,
comes
God.
on screen with a ponytail and aviator sunglasses. Hey, I got this here map here for you.
Want to go check it out? Heard you two were the best treasure hunters there is. Sure.
That definitely had to spawn ourselves like 5 times
Yeah.
during this game.
Yep. Well, because he provided no help. He
No,
provided no help.
yeah, so Jig is essentially your driver. He's the guy that somehow has the map. He's also the guy that, because you can play these levels out of order, consistently is the one screaming, "What the hell is that?" at bad guys you have already killed.
Already fought. Now the stone guys. The best thing is like, if you beat that game, Jake takes all the treasure.
Oh,
like,
of course.
like there's you leave with nothing, and then you have to fight Jake. I bet. I really
It's
want to finish that game now.
It's either that or they give you some bullshit like, "Oh, go put this in your safety deposit box
Yeah.
there," and then he disappears.
Yeah, exactly.
Gone forever.
The coolest part about that game, and like it's actually on a lot of the games at round one, is that you can save your progress, and you can like create
If you can
profiles.
figure out how it works, unlike Zach, who could not
Yes.
figure out how that process worked.
Well, like you also have to like be dedicated to that, because I don't know what numbers I punched into the keypad. Like I have no idea what I
That was the
did.
thing, because I didn't read because there was a timer which was already putting pressure on me, so I
Yeah.
didn't read the whole like set your pin number thing,
Mhm.
and so I thought it had to be 12 digits long, which confused the hell out of me. No, 4 to 12 digits long. So I
Yes.
sat there and I was punching in numbers like, I'm going to remember this, I'm going to remember this, and then I ran out of time, so it didn't do anything else for me. I was like, no!
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've already forgotten what numbers I punched in.
For anyone who doesn't know or who's never seen it, on I think the first time I ever saw it was on like a Fast and Furious game or one of the bike games. There's a pin pad board thing, right? With the numbers, right? And you at the end it will like, but it only gives you the option every now and then. Like you have to do good enough to like be able to get a code.
At some point,
and
it's like,
stuff.
it's just not worth it. It's not
Yeah.
worth saving your info, dude.
So they've been popping up more and more, and they're on almost all of the I think they're on every racing game and like every adventure game at round one. And you do like, you have to be dedicated, because I don't think it's not like you enter the same pin. I mean, you could, but it's not like, hey, this is your round one account. These are all the games that you have played. Here's where your save data is.
It's not like this is going to sound funny. I went to Mohegan Sun recently for my mother's birthday, in which they have exactly that.
Yeah.
You can get a club card, which you stick into every machine that you go to, which is literally doing that for you. It is saving all of your progress so
But,
that
like,
it can give you prizes later.
at
And the
least-
fact that Mohegan Sun figured that out,
Yeah.
but the video game arcade did not, is kind of funny.
Yeah, and I'm sure like you can go to a website and like see your progress on that club card, or like you can go to a kiosk or something and put it in, and it says, "Here's what you have on this game." Like, I don't know, but it's still cool. Like I'm sure there are people who remember their pin and go every week and continue their games. But I think it's cool. I just think it should be executed better. I think people need to,
Well,
realize
the
that
problem is that, like-
I also don't think people realize it's an option.
Right. And I think the other part to that is that, like, that machine is built and installed. What are they gonna do to change it once
Yeah.
they've done it? It's not like you can go to the guy working behind the counter and be like, "Can I have a beer? And also, here's my thoughts on this machine. If you
Yeah.
could pass that along to the
That's true.
manufacturer."
That's true, I
Like,
guess.
arcade games that are not inherently built for QA, really.
That's true. Thanks. Thanks for keeping me grounded, Zach. I appreciate it. Thanks for like when I
Oh.
say a crazy idea, you being like,
No,
Dale,
no, no. You're
Yeah.
not wrong.
you
Like,
gotta pull the reins back.
it's just like I think about just arcades in general are just this strange thing of like, here's your video game that's pre-built into this giant cabinet.
Enjoy.
Joy. Can't do anything about it now.
Yeah.
We can't fix what Sonic looks like in this one.
Oh.
So
Oh. I like the new Sonic look.
oh man, there's one image that doesn't look like the other ones going around. That looks like that like someone put out insisting this was the actual CG render of what he looks like, and he looks a little worse.
Oh,
But I don't know
gosh.
if that was like pre-changes or whatever. Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm excited for what he looks like.
Who's voicing him now? Is it Ben Schwartz? I think it's Ben Schwartz.
Is it really?
I think so. I might be
don't know.
making that up. I know that Jim Carrey is Robotnik and that James Marsden is like a cop he hangs
Oh
out
my
with.
God. I'm so
So-
excited. I don't even care. I love Sonic. I can't wait. Oh man. The other like big thing that kind of happened this week that we didn't talk about is new Pokemon announced.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. You're right. We do have to
We're
talk about that. Pokemon Sword, Shield, and Gun, if you pay attention
Oh
to
God.
newspapers that don't know what
Or
a meme
staff.
is.
Wait,
Yes.
what? Wait, newspapers are like
Apparently a Mexican newspaper may have printed an image that was
my
looking for a Pokemon Sword and Shield image. May have printed one of the ones that insisted that there were 3 versions, which were Pokemon Sword, Shield, and Gun.
Oh God.
Oh, man.
Awful. But yes, we're gonna stick to our stereotypes of talking about Pokemon.
I mean,
so
there's no way
excited.
you can't not talk about it. They announced a new game.
I know exactly, and I'm so excited, and I hate that I'm excited because I just want it.
I watched the trailer again today, like an hour before we started recording, because I was like, you know what?
I just
I want to
wanna
watch
see it
that
again.
trailer again. I haven't watched it. That's some good music. I like the
Yeah.
remix of the theme song that
Yup.
they put in that trailer.
Mm-hmm. It's
But-
oof.
Sword and Shield will take place in the Galar region, Galar.
Yeah,
That's how they spell
Galar?
it. Galar,
Yeah.
and is ostensibly based on Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Is what they talked about, because the leak that came out, I'm still convinced that this whole direct came out because it leaked.
Yeah.
That
I'm
there
sure.
was about a week or two ago, there was a leak that Gen 8 was going to be called Pokemon King and Queen and be based on England. And so I think someone at the Pokemon company went, well, fuck.
Fuck.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's how we're going to solve this. 7-minute video, we give out the names, we give out the starters, and we shut them up now, because
Mhm.
otherwise we will not get away from this.
Yeah.
And they announced 3 of the cutest starters I've ever
Oh,
seen for a Pokemon
My
game.
God. They
Score
are.
Bunny, which neither of us has actually talked about any interest in.
Yeah, I know.
It's so funny. I never do fire starters. I
But
don't think I've
still.
ever done a fire starter, except actually I started playing Pokemon Crystal and I did pick Cyndaquil. So
My very first starter, like ever, because as I have stated, I started with Pokemon X and Y. My very first starter was Fennekin.
that's a good one. Whenever I get
And-
pick up X and Y, I might actually pick Fennekin. I do
Yeah.
like.
Because I loved Fennekin, and I didn't, like, Chespin freaked me out because I didn't know what it was. I'm like, are you an otter? Are you a ferret? And you become, like, a ball of, like, spikiness? What are you? And then you have Froakie, who, like, Froakie's cool, but Fennekin. I could have a Phoenix Fox as my starter Pokemon. I'm gonna go with that.
But Score Buddy's fine. Score Buddy's
Yeah.
cool. I assume that they're going to go the same route of fire fighting, because everyone's like, well,
That's
he's
what
got the
everybody
little
thinks.
thing over his nose that looks
Yeah.
like boxing tape, so
Mhm.
he's going to be fighting, which, sure.
Yeah.
Then there's Grooky, my little buddy, who they call the chimp Pokemon, but has a tail.
Yep.
Translation. I'm
Translation.
assuming it was
Yeah,
translation.
It has to be.
But oh man, it's so funny. They did I guess in Japan they did like a a player poll or something, which I think only 800 or 900 people answered. I say that
Oh,
like that's a
really?
low number, but Rookie had the lowest at 18%.
Oh, Rookie is so cute though.
Rookie looks great. And then of course the winner
Aw.
was your little chameleon, water chameleon buddy,
Sobble? Sobble?
Sobble.
Oh, Sobble?
Is just a sad lizard. That's all it is. It's
I
a sad lizard.
I honestly like haven't picked up on the fact that people are like so behind Sobel. And like I usually go for the ones that nobody wants. Like Fennekin was not on anybody's radar. Poplio, not on anybody's radar. Bulbasaur. No one apparently likes
clown
Bulbasaur.
dummy.
Listen, Poplio is beautiful. All right?
I guarantee you. Here's what I think, especially because Pokemon Red and Blue here in the States came out alongside the anime. I
Yeah.
guarantee you that the love of Squirtle and Charmander over Bulbasaur is because
Oh, yeah.
Charmander and Squirtle have such great stories. Bulbasaur is a great story too, but it is nowhere near as
Oh, no.
it's not as dramatic as the dying Charmander in the rain,
Mhm.
and it doesn't have the Squirtle squad.
Yeah,
I
no.
guarantee you that is why Squirtle and Charmander were more popular.
Oh, I
And
believe it.
also
Yeah.
because Blastoise and Charmander were on the cover.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, totally. Obviously, yes, I agree. But yeah, I was like so like under the radar of like everybody being in love with Sobel. But like I just like Sobel cuz it's a chameleon and like I feel like people are rallying behind it because it's like this sad Pokemon, which like again, I'm not like it's shy. It's not sad.
It's
It's
because
just a
it's got
shy
a
little
giant ass amphibian mouth that looks like
Yeah.
it's frowning.
But
Like
it's-
that's in big eyes. Like
Yeah,
that's
and
what
big
it
eyes.
is.
But it's just a shy little chameleon. Like, it goes with the fact that chameleons can hide themselves. It makes sense that it's shy. Just shyness does not equal sadness, and I want the world to know that. Because that is a stereotype that we need to take away from this world. I know a lot of shy people who are very, very happy.
Two of them are on this call right now who, despite living in the same state, still refuse to record in the same room together because it's easier for us to record in separate basements a state away.
Man. No, I just, it's so, I don't know.
Oh.
I feel like this group of starters is the first group of starters that like everybody is on board with. Like, very, very rarely, I don't know, and I could be completely off. It just feels like everybody is gonna have a difficult time choosing between the three. Like, I still, as much as I don't talk about Scorbunny or Grookey, like, I love them, and I want them on my team.
It also helps that with and I don't know how much further back this goes, but I know with Sun and Moon this was possible. It's possible to get all three of them
Oh, yeah.
through trading and stuff.
Yes.
Which when I learned that, I mean, I went Poplio all the way when I got Sun, and then the fact that I learned, oh, it's that easy to just do a search
Mm-hmm.
for who's giving away these
Oh, yeah.
creatures. It was like, okay,
It's
cool.
amazing.
I don't have to worry about that. So this feels like the first generation where everyone kind of assumes that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm just going to pick the one I like, and then I'm going to get the other two anyway.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the first time I feel like everybody is like conflicted on which one they're gonna pick. I mean, everybody obviously is saying I'm gonna pick this one, but it, like, for me, like, I'm gonna pick Sobel because I like water and I like chameleons. Like, there's a reason why Pascal from Tangled, one of my favorite sidekicks from Disney.
Well, that and he's a murderous little
Yes,
beast.
he is. He's fantastic. But like, it's just, I don't know. I like water starters. I mean, I don't know. It's so difficult for me to be like, yeah, picking Sobel because I love them all so much. I'm so excited for Sword and Shield.
I mean, we'll also see what happens when like the evolutions
I
get
need
announced
to
because
see
that'll
the
happen at some point. Because
evolutions.
I feel like for a while Witten was very popular until Incineroar confused a
Yeah.
lot of people, which I still think Incineroar is great. I'm sorry, I love
Incineroar
Incineroar.
terrifies me.
Everyone says that Incineroar looks like the dopiest bro that follow you around
God.
ever. That's exactly. Seems like the
He's nightmare fuel. He's so scary. I will never use an
Then
Incineroar.
again, I like Mr. Mime, so I think my whole thing for Nightmare Fuel is probably
It explains a lot.
I'm gonna
Explains
go
a lot.
through
Not
and
gonna lie to you.
I'm gonna find every human-ish Pokemon I can find, and they're just gonna be my go-to team from now on. It'll be Incineroar, it'll be Mr. Mime,
Oh,
it'll be
fantastic.
Jinx.
Machamp or Machop. Machoke.
Yep, it'll be yes, it'll be Machoke because he's the one that looks the most like a
Yeah.
like a because he doesn't have the forearms. He's got the two.
God, it's so creepy. But yeah.
Come on, Lee, Chan,
Hitmonlee.
Chan, whichever
No.
one's got the boxing gloves.
Hitmonchan.
Hitmonchan
Mhm.
also looks a lot like a dude.
Yep. Oh my god. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something about Pokemon and now I forgot. Yeah, I need to see evolutions before I'm like, yep, this is the one. Because I'm very nervous about their final evolutions because they're so cute. I feel like when a Pokemon starts out cute, it goes bad real quick.
I mean, usually it starts at cute, then it gets into awkward teenager, and then it gets into, as you said, nightmare fuel, with the exception of Primarina, who just gets more and more fabulous as she goes.
I mean, Decidueye is mysterious and fantastic.
We don't know what's under that hood. We don't know what's going on.
We don't. And like he's like a moody little adult who's like, "Yep, got an arrow on my arm. Here we go." Oh, Primarina though is so fabulous. Love Primarina. Love Primarina.
And I also want to know, like, what's the team? What's the bad guys? Who's the bad guys in this one? Because, like, what are they gonna be? Are they gonna be evil knights? We kind of did that already, but we'll do it again. I love the fact that Black and White, the bad guys, are just like, what if Peto were the Illuminati or the Knights Templar or some shit? Because it's just like, oh, we believe in Pokemon rights, and also we run around in chainmail.
Yeah. Jeez. Yeah, I'm very, very, very excited, and you're definitely gonna hear more about it from us.
Oh,
We're
yes.
Not
As
shut
we
up.
learn more, it will just. Also, be prepared for May when this becomes a Detective Pikachu fan cast.
Woo! Yes.
We'll probably do an entire, just like we did an Infinity War episode. We will do an entire Detective Pikachu episode.
yes.
I can almost guarantee it.
Not even almost. I guarantee it. It will happen. If we could get Ryan Reynolds on the cast, we could. Oh, you want to try and get Ryan Reynolds on the cast?
I would try and do. I can try and do a Ryan Reynolds impression. I can't guarantee anything.
I'll just like take clips of Ryan Reynolds, various clips from Ryan Reynolds from the internet, and just have a sound box. And like when we need something.
One has to be when Pikachu says hell, which I don't think you've watched that trailer yet.
I have not watched that trailer, but that's been ruined
I'm not giving
for
you
me.
the
I've seen
context,
it.
but that has to be a line. It just has to be a line. Every time we mention Ryan Reynolds is like just stuck on this podcast with us.
So good. It'll be permanent. I will just press it whenever I need it.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh. Man. Good things. Good things.
I was gonna say I had other stuff, but quite honestly, it can wait. I'm still playing through some stuff. I'm playing through some. I'm still playing through Crystal, but also I caved in for the $6. I bought Link's Awakening DX.
Oh yeah, I heard that.
So like I'm playing through that again. I'm playing some older. I'm pulling a Devin and I'm playing some older games.
Nice. It's always fun.
Specifically, I'm playing Soul Blazer, a very Devin game. But I'll talk more about that the further I get in. I'm only in the second world right now, so I've only talked to a few goats and some birds.
Yeah.
I swear that makes sense. I also talked to tulips and trees. It's a weird game. Soul Blazer.
I mean, that's okay.
It's early Super Nintendo. They were all weird. But other than that, do you have anything else? I got nothing else right now.
No, I got nothing else. I've been playing Apex Legends. That's pretty much it. And trying to get more Pokemon Phil, but like every time I try to go play Pokemon, I just get sidetracked. But yeah, no. I really want to end it on like I know I was like, oh, we've been doing this for a year. We've been doing this for a year, and I'm very proud of us. And
I'm very proud that we filled our 1-year episode with Pokemon at the end.
me
feels
too.
feels very right to me.
We were able to slide it in there, and
Oh, man.
it
Could
came
you?
perfect.
I also could not tell you a year ago when we started this, I would not have expected to spend the first half hour talking about a Kingdom Hearts game.
No,
So
neither would I have.
I don't think we even knew Kingdom Hearts 3 existed when this show started, which is we did by E3. I don't know if we did before that, but still,
there were
that's
rumors,
amazing.
But yeah, that's insane. It's crazy that we've been. Well, you know what also is crazy? A Pokemon game was released. Pokemon Let's Go, and another one is coming. So, like, when we
you're welcome,
started this...
everybody. We get you more Kingdom Hearts. We get you more Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, when we started, Let's Go, Eevee and Pikachu was not announced. And then while we were doing the podcast, it got
you're
announced.
right. That was announced at E3, wasn't it? Holy shit.
Because I remember texting you and
I remember watching the video, like staying up to watch the Japan stream of the weird conference where they just did a slideshow about Pokemon.
It's crazy.
Oh my god.
So yeah, we made that happen. The Say Report Jr. made that happen. Oh man, but no. In all seriousness, I'm very happy with what we've created here. I know we've said it on the 100th episode of Say Report.
And we're on our feet, and it's our time. We're happy here now.
And I've said it but I'm very proud of us. I'm happy to call you one of my best friends, and it's been a good year. It's been a very good year. Yeah, 2019, despite its weirdness, has been a very good year so far because actually I'm very happy to be back in Rhode Island, and I'm happy to be able to hang out with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So next week, I'm sure we're going to have stuff on Captain Marvel. I'm sure we're going to have stuff on, I don't know, maybe more Pokemon stuff a week.
More Pokemon,
Get lucky.
hopefully.
But until then, this has been Say Report Jr. You can find us on Twitter at Say Report Jr. And if you search Say Report Jr., that's Say Report JR on YouTube, you'll find us there. Everything up until the last episode is up as of today. I got distracted over the weekend because of that Kingdom Hearts stream. It totally threw off my posting that. But it's up. And you can find us individually. I am at Zerwisky.
And I am at Dale's Brain.
And
with that, do you want to say it?
I was going to say one of these I was trying to think of a Pokemon that is made of ice cream, but I don't know if there is one. Let's just go get ice cream.
There is one.
I know there is. I just don't
Vanillite?
There we go. Yeah. Let's all get some Vanillite. Oh, that's a bad implication.
That's
Never
really
mind.
awkward. Liz, you better take it away.
Have non-sentient ice cream. Take it away, Liz. God.
Thank you for listening to The Say Report with your hosts Dale Decker and Zach Sarowick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.